The headlights cut through the rain, slicing over the chipped neon sign. I stood across the street, hood pulled low, staring at my own car parked crooked, right outside a place where the curtains never opened. And then I saw the passenger door swing shut. Before we continue, please subscribe to the channel and let us know where you're listening from in the comments. My name is Daniel. I'm 41 years old, and this is what really happened. It started on a Thursday. Not the kind of Thursday where anything special happens. Just a gray, slow crawl toward the weekend. I was coming off a long stretch of 12-hour shifts at the warehouse, body still humming from the constant lift and drop of pallets. My phone buzzed in my jacket pocket as I was locking up. Eli? Hey man, I need a favor. Eli wasn't the kind of guy who asked for much, or maybe he just knew when to ask so you couldn't say no. We'd been friends since high school, the kind of friends who've seen each other heartbroken, and barely holding it together. I thumbed a quick reply. Me, what's up? He called instead of texting back. Eli, my car's acting up. Something with the radiator. I've got this meeting across town. Kind of urgent. Could I borrow yours? Just for the evening. I hesitated. My car wasn't anything special. The 6-year-old Camry with a dented bumper and a stubborn air freshener that smelled like pine, but it was mine, paid off and reliable. How long you need it? Eli? Couple hours? Tops. I'll fill up the tank. Promise. It was the way he said promise, light, easy, like he knew the word didn't really matter between us, that made me hand over the keys. By 10 o'clock he still wasn't back. I tried to call, no answer. Texted, no reply. By 11 my patience had curdled into that sharp, buzzing irritation you get when you feel stupid for trusting someone. I wasn't worried he'd stolen it. Eli wasn't like that, but I couldn't shake the thought of my car sitting somewhere I wouldn't put it. At 11:37 my phone lit up with a location ping. Not from him, from the tracking app I'd installed last year after a break-in on my street. The dot blinked at an address I didn't recognize. I tapped it open. The map zoomed in, and my eyes caught on 2 words I'd driven past 100 times but never once entered. Blue Lantern Motel. The rain had started as a drizzle by the time I got there, slicking the pavement into a dark mirror. The sign buzzed weakly above the office door. 1 letter burned out so it just read Blue Lantern. And there it was, my Camry parked diagonally like someone had pulled in too fast. I stepped back into the shadow of the convenience store awning across the street, phone gripped tight in my hand. The front desk clerk was nowhere in sight, but one of the upstairs windows glowed faint yellow, curtain drawn almost. At 12:04, the passenger door opened. A woman stepped out first, heels clicking against the wet pavement. She kept her head down, jacket pulled close, moving quickly toward a red sedan. A moment later Eli got out. No meeting, no car trouble. I didn't shout, didn't storm over. I just stayed there half hidden in the rain, watching him look both ways before heading back inside. Something about the way he moved, too casual for someone just caught in a lie, sank into my chest like a stone. The kind of friend who borrows your car for a meeting, doesn't park it outside a motel past midnight. And the kind of man who does that probably has other secrets too. The next morning he dropped the keys in my mailbox. No knock on the door. No text to say thanks. Just the faint smell of unfamiliar perfume still clinging to the upholstery. I slid into the driver's seat later that day, eyes catching on something wedged between the passenger seat and the console. A folded receipt. The motel's name. Yesterday's date. Room number 20. And a second line I almost missed. Hand scribbled in blue ink. See you next Thursday. I sat there with the engine idling, the paper burning a hole in my palm. This wasn't about the car anymore. This was about why he'd needed it, and who he'd been with, and by the end of the week I was going to know both. The receipt stayed in my wallet for 3 days. Not because I was afraid to look into it, but because I wanted the timing to be right. People like Eli, they get sloppy when they think you've let it go. By Thursday afternoon I was sitting in the Camry again, this time parked just far enough from the Blue Lantern to watch without drawing eyes. The rain was gone, replaced by that thick summer heat that makes the air feel like it's been boiled. The same red sedan pulled in at 6:47 p.m. I leaned forward, elbows on the steering wheel, watching the driver's side door open. She stepped out, tall, dark hair tied up in a loose knot, sunglasses even though the sun had already dipped low. She didn't go to the front desk, just walked straight to the stairwell. Head down. I checked my phone. 7:02. Right on schedule. At 7:06 a familiar figure appeared. Eli. Same faded denim jacket, same lazy gait like he had nowhere to be and all the time in the world to get there. He climbed the stairs without looking around, disappeared behind the rail. I kept my eyes on the second-floor walkway. 5 minutes passed. 10:15. The door to room 24 stayed shut. It wasn't until 8:13 that it opened again. This time she stepped out first. Hair now loose, lips a little too red to be from just the heat. Eli followed, laughing at something she said. He touched her back the way you do when you've been touching someone for a long time. They went their separate ways in the parking lot. She to her sedan, he back inside the motel. And I just sat there breathing slow, watching the taillights of her car vanish into the traffic. The smart move would have been to confront him. Ask straight out, who is she? Why was my car there? But I already knew the answers he'd give. The half smile, the quick lie, the man, you're reading too much into this. No, I needed something that wouldn't let him talk his way out of it. That Saturday, I made a stop at the small print shop 3 blocks from my apartment. Old place, man, like ink and dust. The guy behind the counter barely looked up from his crossword. I slid the motel receipt across the counter. I need this blown up, and I want a couple of copies. He glanced at the paper, one eyebrow ticking up, but didn't say a word. By the following Thursday, I was back in the Camry. Same spot, same hour. The sedan arrived at 6:48 this time. She went straight to room 21. Eli showed up at 7:04. But tonight I wasn't just watching. At 7:20 I slipped from my car, keeping low as I crossed the street. My heart wasn't racing. It was steady, like it always gets when I know exactly what I'm about to do. The motel's second-floor walkway creaked under my weight. Room 2014's curtains were drawn, but light spilled out from the narrow gap where they didn't quite meet. I didn't look inside. Didn't need to. I slid the enlarged receipt under the door and walked away. By 7:35 the door opened. Her voice, sharp, disbelieving, cut through the air. What the hell is this? Eli, where'd you get that? I kept walking, down the stairs, across the street, back into my car. The sound of the door slamming carried even through the closed windows. I didn't go back the next week. Instead, I ran into Eli at the corner store on Sunday morning. He was grabbing coffee and a newspaper, wearing the same jacket, same easy smile. Eli, haven't seen you around much. Yeah, been busy. His eyes searched mine for a beat longer than usual, but he didn't say a word about the motel, and that silence told me something. Told me he wasn't just keeping secrets from me. He was keeping them from someone else too. The break came 2 weeks later, from a place I didn't expect. I was at work when my phone buzzed with a text from a number I didn't know. Unknown. We should talk. It's about Eli. Don't tell him. Attached was a picture. The woman from the motel. The message sat on my screen like a live wire. I stared at the photo, the woman's face angled toward the camera as if she'd just turned mid-step. Same dark hair, same sharp jawline. The words beneath it, we should talk. Don't tell him, tightened something in my gut. I typed back, fingers moving slower than they should. Me? Who is this? The reply came fast. Unknown. Meet me tomorrow. 4 p.m. Riverbend Diner. Riverbend was one of those places that hadn't changed in 30 years. Same cracked vinyl booths. Same smell of fryer oil clinging to the air. I got there early, slid into a booth with a clear view of the door. At 4:07 she walked in. Without the sunglasses she looked younger than I expected. Late 20s. Maybe she scanned the room, spotted me and came over. Her Daniel? I nodded. She slid into the seat across from me, resting her purse on the bench beside her. Her hands stayed clasped in front of her, knuckles pale. My name's Rachel. I don't know how much you've seen, but Eli and we've been seeing each other for a while. I didn't blink. Just let her keep talking. I thought he was single. That's what he told me. But last week someone slipped this under the door. She reached into her purse and pulled out the enlarged receipt I'd slid there myself. Her eyes narrowed. That was you, wasn't it? I didn't confirm. Didn't deny. They said it was nothing, that you were some jealous friend trying to mess with him. But I didn't believe him. Not after what I found out. She leaned in, lowering her voice. Rachel, he's not just lying to you, he's lying to his wife. The word wife hit harder than I expected. Eli had never mentioned a girlfriend, let alone a wife. Rachel. Her name's Megan. They've been married 7 years. He told me he was divorced. I sat back, letting the weight of it settle. This wasn't just a friend crossing a line. This was a man building entire false lives and dragging me into one of them without me even knowing. Rachel, Look, I don't care about him anymore. I'm done. But I think you deserve to know something. She reached into her bag again and pulled out her phone, scrolling until she found a photo. It was Eli, standing in my driveway, holding my car keys. The timestamp the night he'd borrowed my car for his so-called meeting. Rachel. He told me this was his car, said he'd just bought it, and that he had a buddy willing to sign over the title cheap if he could get the cash together. My jaw tightened. That wasn't some casual lie, that was premeditated, planting a story, probably setting me up to lose more than just trust. Why are you telling me this now? Rachel, because Megan called me. She found my number in his phone. She wants to meet. And she said something that made me think, maybe you've been a target longer than you realize. By the time Rachel left, the coffee in front of me had gone cold. I stayed in the booth, watching her taillights fade into the traffic outside, the word target looping in my head. I thought back to the months before the motel, the random times Eli had shown up at my place uninvited, the casual questions about when I'd be home, the times he'd offered to help with errands. Had it all been groundwork for something bigger? That night I went through my glove compartment. Most of it was just the usual old insurance papers, napkins, a flashlight with dying batteries. But tucked under the owner's manual was something that didn't belong. A single motel keycard. Room 204. The keycard felt heavier than it should. Not in weight. In implication. I turned it over in my hand, running my thumb along the raised lettering. No date, no name, just that familiar Blue Lantern logo and a strip of magnetic tape. It wasn't just forgotten. It was planted. The next morning I called the number Rachel had given me. Megan's voice was clipped. Careful. The way people sound when they're trying not to let emotion bleed through. She agreed to meet, choosing a coffee shop halfway between our neighborhoods. When I arrived, she was already there, sitting at a table by the window with a mug in both hands. Her hair was pulled back tight, not a strand out of place. Megan. Daniel? I nodded and sat. There was no small talk. Megan. Rachel told me you've seen them together. More than once. She stared at her mug for a long moment before speaking again. Megan. I've known for months. The problem is, I can't prove it in a way that'll hold up. And Eli, he's careful. Too careful. I pulled the motel keycard from my jacket pocket and set it on the table between us. Her eyes flicked down, then back up to me. Megan, where'd you get that? My glove compartment. My car. The night he borrowed it. She exhaled slowly, like she'd been holding that breath for weeks. Megan, he's trying to use you. I didn't respond. Megan. Last month he told me you were in trouble, that you'd asked him to sell your car for quick cash, said you were falling behind on bills. I felt something tighten in my chest, the same slow burn I'd felt standing outside the motel in the rain. Megan, I think he's setting you up, either to take the fall for something, or to make himself look like the hero. Maybe both. We sat in silence for a moment, the hum of the espresso machine filling the space. Megan leaned forward. Megan, if we work together, we can corner him, make him show his hand. What's your plan? She smiled, but it wasn't warm. Megan, let's just say, he's about to get an offer he can't refuse, and it's going to be the one thing he can't resist. Quick money, no questions asked. The following week, Megan set the bait. She told Eli that a friend of hers, a recently divorced woman, needed to sell her car fast. Below market value. No paperwork hassle. Just cash and a handshake. Eli bid immediately. Rachel played the part of the seller, meeting him in a public lot with a car that wasn't hers but looked expensive enough to tempt him. She let him believe she was desperate, that she'd take less than half its worth if he could get the cash that night. While they were talking, I sat 2 rows over, engine idling, camera ready. Eli didn't notice me. He was too busy circling the car, popping the hood, asking the kind of questions people ask when they've already decided they're going to buy. Rachel, like I said, I just need it gone. No title transfer, no bill of sale. You take it tonight. I don't care what you do with it after. Eli, I can make that happen. Tonight, just gotta move a few things around. By the time he left, I had video of his face, his voice, his agreement to take possession of a car with no legal transfer, the kind of thing that could tank a man's credibility in court, especially one already knee-deep in lies. But it wasn't enough. Not yet. The real twist came later that evening. I was home when my phone buzzed. Megan again. Megan, he's on his way to your place. Says he needs to borrow your car for a couple hours. Why? Megan. He didn't say. But he's bringing cash. That's when it hit me. The fake sale wasn't just bait. It was bait and a test. If Eli showed up in my car with that cash, the police wouldn't need much convincing about what he was planning to do. All I had to do was let him walk right into it. At 9:14 p.m. there was a knock at my door. Eli stood there, grinning like we were still high school friends. Eli, hey man, need to borrow the Camry again, just for a bit, got a quick deal to close. I stepped aside, handing him the keys without a word. As he walked away, the streetlight caught the edge of the envelope in his hand. It was thick, and I knew exactly what was inside. I watched from the upstairs window as Eli slid into the driver's seat of my Camry. The envelope of cash sat on the passenger side, plain as day under the glow of the dome light. He didn't look up toward the house. Didn't even hesitate, just pulled away from the curb like the car was already his. I gave it 3 minutes before stepping outside. The night was warm, crickets filling the gaps between distant traffic noise. I walked down the block, climbed into Megan's SUV. She was waiting in the driver's seat, engine idling. Megan, he just texted me. Says he's on his way to close the deal. Then we'd better not be late. We followed at a distance, keeping just far enough back that he couldn't catch a glimpse of us in the rear view. Eli drove like a man with a mission. No wasted turns, no stops, just a straight shot to the lot where Rachel was waiting with the for sale car. She leaned against the hood when he pulled in, arms crossed. The lot was empty except for them. Rachel? You got it? Eli. Right here. He opened the envelope just enough for the bills to flash under the streetlight. Then he glanced around, the way men do when they know they're not supposed to be there. Rachel, no title, no paperwork. Once I hand you these keys, it's yours. Eli. That's the plan. He reached for the keys. That's when the headlights swept in from the other side of the lot. 2 squad cars. The uniforms stepped out before Eli could even process what was happening. Officer. Daniel Harris? Eli blinked. What? No. They weren't looking at him anymore. They were looking at my Camry. Officer. Sir, is this your vehicle? I stepped out from behind the patrol car. Calm. Measured. Yes, officer. And that's my friend. He's been using it tonight. Without my permission. Eli's head snapped toward me. Eli, come on man, what is this? The officers didn't give him time to plead his case. One opened the Camry's passenger door, pulling the envelope into view. The other gestured toward Rachel's car. Officer, we've got reports of an illegal vehicle transfer. Cash exchange, no documentation. Eli stammered something about helping a friend, but the more he talked, the deeper he dug himself in. Megan arrived minutes later, playing her role perfectly, the worried wife who'd been told her husband was helping out a buddy in trouble. Megan, I don't understand, Eli. Why are you buying cars in cash? Why is Daniel here? The officers separated them, asking questions neither could dodge. By the time they let him go, not arrested, but with a stern warning and a record of the incident log, the damage was done. Word travels fast in our neighborhood. By the weekend, the story had shifted from Eli buying a car to Eli caught in a shady deal with 2 women and a police escort. His wife didn't need more proof. She filed for separation before the month was over. Rachel cut him off completely. And me, I didn't say a word to him. Not then, not now. The last time I saw him, he was loading boxes into the back of a borrowed pickup, avoiding every pair of eyes on the street. As he shut the tailgate, he glanced toward my house. Our eyes met for just a second. Enough for him to know that I knew everything. I didn't nod, didn't smile. Just turned away and went inside. Some friendships end with a fight. Ours ended with a motel receipt, a keycard, and a man walking himself into the kind of mess you can't wash off. And for the first time since that rainy night outside the Blue Lantern, I slept without wondering where my car or my trust had been. If you liked this story, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share your thoughts in the comments.